The funny thing is, I actually like this movie, but as you will soon come to learn on my channel, your explicit admiration for a movie isn't always a reliable indicator of its inherent objective quality. It's a common recurring fan sentiment that Thor 1 is boring, Thor 2 is bad, Thor 4 is dog shit, and Thor 3, Thor Ragnarok, is the best Thor movie. Back in 2017 when it was released about 8 years ago, Jesus Christ, I'm old. The movie was beloved and seen as Thor's holy redemption by reviewers and audiences alike, because up until that point, Thor had been seen as a very boring, one-note, all-powerful, godlike character that didn't really have a strong, marketable, or relatable personality. So it makes sense why everyone loved this movie so much, and in spite of my intentionally provocative title, they are not entirely wrong, in the sense that as a result of this movie, Thor as a character became 10 times more likable, and for the first time, a Thor movie actually managed to entertain its audience. But that doesn't mean that all that didn't come at an incredibly disproportionately steep price.
So where is it, this crown? This is my crown, the source of my power.
Why are you telling Thor how to defeat you? I can understand you being a bit braggadocious in your moment of victory while delivering some metatextual, albeit slightly inorganic exposition for the audience, but you don't have to give your enemy a fucking 5-minute step-by-step YouTube tutorial on exactly how to foil your evil plan. And before you call this a nitpick, Thor had no idea where his crown was or what it even looked like.
This is my crown, the source of my power.
Oh, that's a crown. I thought it was a big eyebrow.
It's a crown.
If Surtur had simply said, "I have sent my crown off to a hidden realm I know not where," Thor would have wasted his time looking for it and Surtur might have achieved his goals before the second act of the movie. But instead, Thor immediately defeats him and Surtur only fulfills his prophecy at the end because it's in alignment with Thor's goal.
I don't have it. You need the cube to bring me home, but I've sent it off I know not where.
Remember when evil villains actually lied to and manipulated our hero because, you know, they are evil and lying to your enemy is a good way to achieve your goals as a villain? If only we could return to that timeline.
I mean, it's all mine for the taking.
Behold, my stuff.
Later on in the movie, after Hela takes over, we find out that Scourge's core motivation is that he wants to prove himself.
What I meant was, what's your ambition?
I just want a chance to prove myself.
Recognition.
So, I find it quite strange that this movie didn't use his introductory scene as an opportunity to set up that core motivation. It would have been a lot better if he was introduced in a scene where he's trying to convince Odin to let him go on a mission that would protect, progress, or even slightly improve the realm of Asgard, but Odin just tells him to relax and stick to opening the Bifrost. This hypothetical scene would serve multiple functions. It can communicate to the audience his inherent desire to be something more than what he is. It can serve as additional setup for the Loki reveal. It can buttress Hela's point about Asgard now being weak and further justify why Surtur has chosen this particular period to attack. Just like that, we fleshed out 4 main characters and established the world building of the film. It can serve to create a fundamental understanding between Hela and Scourge when she arrives in with all her ambition, so we can understand why exactly he's working with her. But the way it stands, the only thing connecting him to Hela is the fact that he's trying to survive, therefore he's bowing to the highest authority.
You look like a smart boy with good survival instincts.
Which is definitely a valid form of characterization, but it's nowhere near as potent as what the film tried and failed to establish. This whole scene is just one big wasted opportunity, sacrificing character for comedy. Sadly, that's going to be a recurring theme in this video.
Hold on, I'm supposed to announce your arrival.
I simply don't understand why Loki didn't just give him a Pegasus or a ship or a fucking raven. Thor is the one person who can expose you. You should put all your resources towards making sure you are alerted the moment he arrives so you're not caught off guard. We literally see the ships being used against Hela later on in the movie, so why doesn't Scourge have access to one of them right now? This doesn't make any sense. Loki is objectively smarter than this.
Do me a favor. Lock this away in the vault so it doesn't turn into a giant monster and destroy the whole planet.
Wait, what?
My time has come. When my crown is reunited with the eternal flame,
I shall be restored to my full might.
The eternal flame that Odin keeps locked away on Asgard.
Do me a favor. Lock this away in a vault so it doesn't turn into a giant monster and destroy the whole planet.
His power comes from reuniting his crown with the eternal flame. He plans to use this power to destroy Asgard, and the eternal flame is stored in Odin's vault. So, your bright idea to stop him from destroying Asgard is to keep his crown in the exact same place where the eternal flame is located, instead of storing it at the furthest most opposite part of the planet, or burying it deep underground somewhere else, or even taking it off world and storing it with an independent trusted third party. Okay.
Father?
Bullshit.
Oh, I like the statue. A lot better looking than he was when he was alive. A little less Weasley, less greasy, maybe.
So it's back to Midgard for you, is it?
Nope.
Loki made his illusion way too obvious. He's smarter and a lot more mischievous than this bullshit. You're telling me the trickster god can't properly pretend to be an old man he has known all his life? He knows all his mannerisms, speech patterns, affectations and idiosyncrasies. So his performance should have been a lot more realistic. Thor would have definitely still figured it out, don't get me wrong. But Loki should have made it a lot harder for him, because it would have been a more sensational plot twist for the audience, while making Loki and Thor look more intelligent for both their respective performance and deductive reasoning skills. I also love how the guards just stood there instead of immediately attacking Thor and protecting their king. If you are about to tell me in the comments that very intelligent characters acting like fucking dumbasses is actually a good thing because it's funny, well, I would like to point you towards Infinity War, a movie that manages to have some of the best jokes in the MCU without requiring the cerebral assassination and lobotomization of its characters. Even though that movie is also actually really quite bad.
Sorry to hear that Jane dumped you.
She didn't dump me, you know. I dumped her. It's a mutual dumping.
This one is definitely a nitpick, but how do random civilians know that Thor has a girlfriend? How do they know what planet she's from? How do they know her name? How do they know that she has broken up with him? I assure you the Master of the Mystic Arts doesn't have most of this information, so why do they? And also, I call fucking bullshit. At the end of his last movie, she went back to her and they were kissing and she was waiting for him and they were still together. In Age of Ultron, it was confirmed that they are still together, but Jane is off somewhere doing some science fucking bullshit. And in Infinity War, he confirmed that he hasn't been on Earth in a fucking while. Play the clip.
The time and Mind Stones are safe on Earth. They're with the Avengers.
The Avengers?
The Earth's mightiest heroes.
Like Kevin Bacon?
He may be on the team. I don't know. I haven't been there in a while.
So, when did Jane manage to get the ability to bifrost her way into space and meet Thor and break up with him, then come back to fucking Earth and then tell these two random girls that she broke up with Thor?
What's this? What are you doing?
This isn't me.
You stood there for 4 seconds and it didn't occur to you that you should maybe step out of the magic circle of unknown origin? You had enough time to notice the circle beneath you, give a reaction and have an exchange of dialogue with Thor, but you didn't think to jump out of the sparkle circle of possible doom? Okay, it's cool that Doctor Strange got a cameo in this film as a way to reinforce and build upon the established world building of the MCU, something that was sorely lacking in the entirety of Marvel Phase 2. I'm looking at you, fucking Winter Soldier and Iron Man 3. But this entire scene does nothing but assassinate the character of Thor. After coming face to face with a creature you have never met and know nothing about, because even though he looks human, he's flying and he just teleported both you and your brother away from your original locations. Humans don't typically do that shit. In fact, the only thing you do know about him is the fact that he's powerful enough to overpower Loki, the trickster god, who is powerful enough to overpower Odin, the king of Asgard.
Asgard!
You have no idea if this person is a friend or a foe, and you have no reason to trust him, but the moment you meet him, you immediately lower your guard and relinquish your hammer. Okay? And as if that wasn't bad enough, after being reunited with your brother whom you have watched die in your arms at 2 different points in your life, the same brother whose power you know is enough to subdue your father and deceive an entire planet, you just watched that same brother get snatched away from you again by an unknown being of presumably immense power, and the first thing out of your mouth after foolishly disarming yourself is,
So Earth has wizards now.
no! Where is Loki? Say it with me now! Where is Loki?
Alright, wizard. Who are you? Why should I care?
God damn it. This is another nitpick, but Doctor Strange doesn't need his head to open a simple portal. It's just a portal. There's nothing special about it. We know he doesn't need his hair because he didn't pluck Loki's hair before he opened his portal. That's dumb. A simple knife isn't strong enough to destabilize Loki enough to push him out of the Bifrost. Did we forget that Loki is a master martial artist, but now he's unable to redirect or catch or dodge or deflect a knife? Cool. Also, I know it's a funny ironic thing we all laugh about, but using electricity to control the god of thunder is stupid as fuck. It's funny, but imagine Aquaman drowning in a swimming pool. Exactly.
I let go. Loki! Loki! Over here! Over here!
Well, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Thor and Loki left the Bifrost from two different spots, at two different points in time, in two different directions. How the fuck did they both end up on the same planet? That's not how the vastness of space works. Hell, that's not how the basic laws of physics work either. This might actually be the biggest plot contrivance in this entire movie. Now, on to the second problem with Loki being here. Loki can shapeshift into anybody he wants, and as we saw with what he did to Odin, he has the power of mind control.
Loki left your magic.
Took me quite a while to break free from your spell. Frigga would have been proud.
Why didn't he use either of those two abilities to take over Sakaar in the many weeks he has been here? Why is he wasting his time trying to gain the Grandmaster's trust? He can either use the same spell he used on Odin to control the Grandmaster and send him off-world while he shapeshifts and takes over the planet, or mind control him and use him as a puppet, or just kill him and take his identity. As we will see in a future scene with Valkyrie, Loki also has the ability to access specific memories. So, he could have just scanned through the important parts of his memory to fill in the blanks where he otherwise couldn't have, like with his Odin impersonation. It's quite literally a foolproof plan. Bro can shapeshift, mind control, create illusions, and read memories. He's like an overpowered version of Mysterio but with no external technological limitations. Yet we never see him use any of his abilities to achieve his goal.
You know, I haven't seen this beloved champion he talks of, but I've heard he's astonishingly savage.
That doesn't make any fucking sense either. Hulk is the long-running, undefeated, beloved, well-known champion of the Grandmaster. Everyone knows him and everybody talks about him. He is the local celebrity of the planet. There is merchandise with his face and skin color plastered all over the area and carried around by different people in the same arena that Loki frequents. The Grandmaster can't stop talking about him. Loki has been on this planet warming up to the Grandmaster for several weeks, yet he has never seen the Hulk?
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
Okay, this is quite literally on the same level of stupidity as Peacemaker not realizing he's living in a racist dimension. And what exactly are the odds that both Thor and Loki just randomly happen to land on the same planet where the Hulk ended up after he ran away at the end of Age of Ultron? Of all the infinitesimally random planets in the universe where they could have landed, they just so happen to coincidentally and randomly land on the same planet as the Hulk, which now also apparently luckily happens to have an Asgardian that can help them? This is also incredibly arbitrarily contrived and random. Yes, random lucky things do happen in real life all the time, but the plot of a movie is supposed to be driven by cause and effects. There should be a sense of consistent logical progression within your narrative, because if you just allow random probability to control your story, then why aren't the Guardians of the Galaxy also on this planet? Why isn't Thanos here right now fighting the Hulk? Why haven't we seen Captain Marvel flying to save the day like she did in Endgame? The movie is fundamentally broken, bro. There's no way to justify any of this arbitrarily contrived bullshit. It's literally a cascade of contrivances. A good way to properly set up Hulk's involvement in the plot would be, on his journey to find the Infinity Stones, have Thor hear rumors about a giant green monster that's winning championship fights. Then Loki, with his underground nefarious connections, would have already known about the Grandmaster's tournament and also hear rumors about his new green champion. Both of these scenes can be established with Thor in the cage and Loki on the throne before Thor arrives. And if we want to retain the element of surprise, even though they already threw that shit away in the marketing, just have Thor and Loki omit the green color of the champion champion in their scenes. I want to reiterate that it simply can't be overstated just how foolish it was to destroy your world building just so you can have a joke where Loki is surprised to see the Hulk. I swear to God, the comedy in this movie sometimes acts like it's fucking kryptonite. Anyway, we can further build upon this plotline by having them both get sent in different directions and end up on different planets because that's how space works. Have them both get the idea to go to Sakaar for different reasons. Thor wants to get Hulk's help because he's the strongest and only spacefaring Avenger. Or, if we're still so deeply invested in maintaining the mystery of the Hulk, we can just have Thor think that the champion is some super powerful, almighty, mythical Asgardian from legend, and he's apparently so desperate that he will go across the universe to get anybody that can help him defeat his sister and save his planet. We can work with that. Then when he gets there, he's pleasantly surprised to see that it's the Hulk actually. While Loki wants to rule over Sakaar because he likes how the society has been set up. We'll have Loki get there first and establish himself, not because of some arbitrary time dilation bullshit, but because he was pushed out of the Bifrost in a direction heading towards Sakaar, and he used his illusions to steal a spaceship, while Thor was pushed out of the Bifrost in the opposite direction and had to acquire a spaceship in a more noble way. Then as for Valkyrie, she just happened to be on the planet before Hulk crash landed there because she liked the chaotic aspect of the society. That's a coincidence that I'm willing to permit. You see how this is a lot better than just having all four of them randomly, accidentally and conveniently happen to land on this one obscure trash planet on the outskirts of space. You could even have a new variation of the scene where Thor lands on a planet and reveals that Loki has parasitically inserted himself as its leader for his own vain and childish self-glorification.
Are we cool?
That doesn't make any sense. Why are they in the same room? Number 1, the champion should have his own private room. Why is he being forced to share his space with the last guy whose ass he just kicked? Number 2, these guys were just in a heated fight to the death. Don't you think it would be a good idea to keep them apart so they don't pointlessly fight again in a way that you can't monetize and actually ends up costing you more money because of all the property damage that their brawl would incur? Number 3, they are both injured and weakened from the fight. What if one of them kills the other and now you've just aimlessly, pointlessly, foolishly lost one of your contenders?
Earth just lost your best defender.
Number 4, he literally said,
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
And there are several instances of them communicating with each other during the fight in a non-hostile way. There's even a point where the new guy was able to emotionally connect with your champion and calm him down for a bit. Why the fuck would you then put two of them in a room together, unsupervised and alone so they can plot their escape? The Grandmaster can't be this much of a bumbling dumbass, bro. What the fuck? It's been 2 years. Why the fuck is the Queen Jet still outside? Why didn't the Grandmaster take it and add it to his collection? Or at the very least, take it away so his champion can't use it to return from whence he came? Why didn't Valkyrie seize it and sell it for parts? Why haven't the scrappers dismantled it and sold it for parts? Why hasn't a random civilian stolen it? It's a highly valuable, fully functional alien spaceship sitting in the middle of fucking trash. Somebody would have fucking taken this shit by now. Also, something tells me the Hulk isn't smart enough to land a fucking spaceship. So, what the fuck is it still in perfect condition after he most likely crash landed on Sakaar?
If I'm gonna die, well, it may as well be driving my sword through the heart of that murderous hag.
That wasn't really predicated on any real character arc or significant shift in her core internal motivation. She just arbitrarily decided that now is a good time to agree to help Thor because she read the script. It's so fucking pathetic. They didn't even have her be disgusted at how evil and unjust and disloyal and just fucking untrustworthy the Grandmaster is, or maybe even make her feel guilty for abandoning her post as the guardian of Asgard and wanting to go back to save her people. She just decides to help Thor because the plot says it's time for Valkyrie to help Thor.
Please, help me. I need your help.
Bye.
Asgard is in danger. If people are dying, we need to get back there. I need your help.
Finished. Bye. If I'm gonna die, well, it may as well be driving my sword through the heart of that murderous hag.
Good. Yeah.
Fucking third time's the charm, I guess.
One time when we were children, he transformed himself into a snake, and he knows that I love snakes. So I went to pick up the snake to admire it, and he transformed back into himself, and he was like, yeah, it's me.
So why the fuck didn't he shapeshift into a snake and free himself before they arrived? At this point, You've been made aware that your prisoners have been set free and their obedience chips have been deactivated. With how much chaos Thor and Loki have been causing, I know for a fact you've been informed about that as well. So why the fuck didn't you lock down your hangar and seal the garage door before they could get to your ship?
For Asgard.
Oh, fucking Christ, bro. Seriously, Scourge has to be the biggest non-character type plot device in this entire movie. In his opening scene, he's characterized as being this incredibly materialistic person who cares about all the worldly possessions his access to the Bifrost grants him and how he can use those possessions to impress the fair maidens. When Hela lands on Asgard and kills Thor's friends, he doesn't stand up to her because he doesn't want to die and presumably doesn't really care much about anything or anyone else besides himself. So he joins forces with her in order to continue being alive. He stands by her side as she commits all manner of atrocities upon Asgard and its people, all the while having this faint, remotely remorseful look on his face, almost as if he has a moral conflict within himself about being an accomplice to all these atrocities, but we never find out why. Seeing as how his primary motivation is consistently shown to be self-preservation, it's kinda crazy how the movie never touches on why he feels bad about the bad things Hela does or tries to make him do. It even goes out of its way to bail him out of a scenario where he is forced to get his hands dirty after Hela commands him to execute an innocent woman. It would have been interesting to watch him either kill that woman and have to deal with the psychological ramifications and consequences of his actions, or defy Hela's command and have him tell us why he believes the things he believes while also dealing with the ramifications of defying her orders. But he immediately gets relieved of the burden of this decision when a citizen offers to give Hela the information she desires. Then, out of nowhere, we find out he wants to prove himself.
What I meant was, what's your ambition?
I just want a chance to prove myself.
While this is in fact a more substantial piece of characterization than what we've gotten for him, it is completely contradictory to everything we've seen thus far. Materialistic ladies, man? Okay, I can work with that. Self-preserving coward. Yeah, that makes sense, fits in nicely with his prior characterization. Ambitious warrior with a chip on his shoulder?
What? What the fuck?
But what makes it worse is, we don't even know what that means. Why does he want to prove himself? How does he want to prove himself? To whom does he want to prove himself? To the people of Asgard, his friends, the throne, his fellow soldiers, his family, the royal guard, fucking Loki? None of these questions get answered. And in the middle of the final battle, when it becomes clear that Hela is going to lose, he reverts back to his original self-preservative instincts, disguises himself as an Asgardian refugee, and seeks asylum on the ship. If that was all we saw of him, it would have been okay because at the very least he would have been a consistently written character. He wouldn't have had an arc, but he would have been consistent. He's a selfish, spineless coward that doesn't have the balls to do the right thing, and we would have just assumed that all that stuff he told Hela about wanting to prove himself was just something he made up in order to seem strong, reliable, and relatable so she doesn't have any reason to doubt his usefulness. But then, the undead soldiers start attacking the ship. He pulls out his guns from the start of the film out of nowhere, shoots them, jumps off the ship to keep shooting them, shouts out,
For Asgard.
and then gets killed by Hela when he runs out of bullets. What the fuck? What am I supposed to do with that? When was any of that fucking bullshit set up? Don't get me wrong. The selfish to selfless alt-right pipeline is a very reliable character arc for our hero to have. But the problem is, up until now, we've only ever seen him act out of self-preservation. So, when did he go on this journey to become this selfless, all-righteous, altruistic savior of Asgard?
Asgard.
Asgard.
And that fucking line.
For Asgard.
When did he become such a devout patriot? Where did any of this come from? Wait. Wait. So you're telling me that because he looked sad a few times when bad things were happening, we're supposed to believe that he's the type of person to sacrifice his life to save a bunch of fucking strangers? I don't think you guys understand that he was literally leading the charge to kill all these people just 5 minutes ago. Is it supposed to tie into him wanting to prove himself? Because I'll tell you right now, it doesn't. And even if it did, that's not how character arcs work. You don't go from being a high-ranking, ruthless war criminal to being a cowardly, self-preserving, spineless bitch to being a brave, altruistic, selfless messiah within the span of 10 fucking minutes. Those are 3 different characters.
If you were here, I might even give you a hug.
I'm here.
Why? The last time you saw him, you were about to betray him, and your entire goal in this movie has been to find a new planet to rule. You only went with Korg and his revolution because they allowed you to rule over them.
We're about to jump on that ginormous spaceship. You wanna come?
Well, you do seem like you're in desperate need of leadership.
Why, thank you.
You were going to betray Thor so you could stay back and gain favor with the Grandmaster again, which is something you never needed to do in the first place. So after Korg saved you, why the fuck didn't you go kill the Grandmaster and take his place? And now Thor is king of Asgard, even though he renounced the throne in the last movie because he would rather be a good man than a great king. His goal at the start of this movie was to investigate the Infinity Stones, and the film never dealt with, reconciled, or resolved his reasons for denouncing the throne. But we need a cool way to end the movie, so fuck meaningful character arcs and sound character development, just throw Thor on the throne and call it a day. The amount of wasted potential in this movie with regards to his characters actually makes me sad. Take Loki for example. We never got to see him react to or deal with the death of his father, the person whose validation and approval he has been begging for since the day we met him. You don't admire your father for most of your life.
Why have you done this? To prove to father that I am a worthy son.
Then resent him in your adult years.
I'll tell father what you did here today.
I didn't do it for him.
And when he dies, you're just completely unaffected. That's not how paternal childhood trauma works. We never even got to see him deal with the possible role his actions might have played in the death of his father. After Odin died, Thor immediately spitefully blames Loki for his death. He might have been fueled by very strong and irrational emotions, but he wasn't entirely misinformed. Who knows if the prolonged mental, spiritual and psychological resistance required to overcome Loki's enchantment, combined with the subpar living conditions of a retirement home away from his homeworld, was exactly what led to the shortening of his lifespan. This is a very real possibility, and the movie never has Loki address it in any way. You can't tell me that after Loki reacts to his mother's death like this, his father, who he might have accidentally killed, doesn't get the same reaction. Makes no fucking sense. Speaking of not making any fucking sense, Thor never even has the discussion with Loki about his deep-seated desire to ascend to the throne. He just takes it and expects Loki to be okay with it. How does he know that he can trust him to not do to him what he did to their father? They never even had a discussion about whether he can trust him, considering the last time they saw each other, Loki tried to betray him in an attempt to gain power. Your brother has been driven by his desire for power for as long as you've known him, and he has betrayed every single person who has had power over him in some way. Now that you have the one thing he has always wanted and you have officially become a person who has power over him, how do you know that history won't just simply repeat itself?
It suits you.
You know, maybe you're not so bad after all, brother.
Why? Because he complimented your fucking eye patch? He tried to stab you in the back literally 30 minutes ago. Are you ever going to address that? Everyone likes to talk about how bad and boring Thor 2 is, but at least that movie allowed our main characters to be actual fucking characters.
All this because Loki desires a throne.
It is my birthright.
Your birthright was to die!
And what of Thor? You'll make that witless oaf king while I rot in chains.
I mean, we never even get to see them mourn the death of their dad together in this movie. When it happens, we see Thor's initial reaction, but they get interrupted by Hela before any real substantial discourse could be had. The second time we see them talking, Loki attempts to express how lonely he feels.
Fine. I guess I'll just have to go it alone. Like I've always done.
Which makes sense because it has always been him against the world from the moment we met him. Nobody was on his side when he tried to take over the throne in Thor 1 and when he presents his offering of destroying their mortal enemy to his father.
When he wakes, I will have saved his life. I will have destroyed that race of monsters, and I will be true heir to the throne.
I could have done it, Father! I could have done it! For you! For all of us!
Odin rejects him.
For you! For all of us! No, Loki.
Then he decides to fucking end it all out of spite and resentment. Again, I need to reiterate that it simply cannot be overstated just how fucking foolish it was to make Loki's illusion impersonation of Odin so fucking dumb and plain and obvious for the sake of jokes. The one thing this movie gets praised for across the board, reviewers, critics, audiences, it's fucking comedy. The way it achieves this comedy is by assassinating its characters. Loki knows his dad inside and out. He wants to maintain his place on the fucking throne. He did it perfectly in Thor 2. He impersonated his dad perfectly to the point where he fooled Thor. At the end of the movie, he fooled the audience and he fooled Thor. Now that he has the throne, he has everything. He doesn't know how to put on a fucking performance. Aye, bro. No, fuck you. Just look at this. This is Loki.
I'd rather be a good man than a great king.
Is this my son I hear, or the woman he loves?
And you're telling me that this is also Loki?
Father?
Oh shit.
Get the fuck out of my face, bro. Oh, but Waco, it's funny. Shut your bitch ass up. When he attacked New York, he still had no one on his side because Thanos and his goons were merely using him to achieve their goals, and his allies on Earth had to be fucking mind controlled in order to be his friend. Then when he gets cast away in a cell for all his war crimes, the only person who gives enough fucks about him to visit and spend time with him gets killed. When he takes over Asgard disguised as Odin, nobody knows his real identity, so all the love, praise and adoration he got was never really meant for him. And now he's an outsider on a foreign planet, yet again trying to gain favor from people who don't really know or care about him, and his brother refuses to talk to him. But instead of pulling on this thread that's rich with so much interpersonal drama and substantial characterization, the movie just has Thor chastise him for the most recent bullshit he put them through, completely glancing over the fact that he killed their father, by the way.
He stole the throne, stripped Odin of his power, stranded him on Earth to die, releasing the goddess of death. I said enough. Would you like me to go back further than the past 2 days?
And on top of all that, rather than have Loki defend himself or offer his perspective to his brother like he did in the Avengers, the movie just has him spite Thor by saying he put a bet on him to lose.
I placed a large wager against you tomorrow. Don't let me down.
Then makes a joke with Korg.
Don't let me down.
Piss off, Ghost!
Having Loki decide that he's done explaining himself to his brother would have been an excellent way to develop his character if we actually saw him deal with the death of his father, or use that disdain of his brother to grow closer to his sister, whom we'll get to in a minute. But no, the movie opts out of giving Loki any substantial piece of characterization in favor of a joke. Because why make Loki sympathetic when you can make him funny?
Piss off, Ghost!
The next time they get some space to talk, they're having an out of nowhere surface level conversation about separating. Then at the end of the movie, they are happy to be together, even though the last time they were together, they were talking about being apart forever and Loki tried to betray Thor. This movie really has no idea what the fuck it wants to do with its characters. We never even get to see Thor properly process the loss of his father. We had to wait till Infinity War to get a good character moment about his dead dad, and even then, Odin is lumped in as just another statistic.
And you said your sister and your dad
Both dead.
but still got a mom, though?
Killed by a dark elf.
Speaking of his dead sister, God, I'm so great at transitions. Everyone kept talking about Hela being one of the best MCU villains simply because she wasn't a man in a suit with different color lightning as Thor. But she's just as bland as all the other copy and paste villains. We never get anything substantial for Hela by way of character.
Want to see what true power really looks like?
She just wants power for the sake of wanting power.
Odin's treasures.
Fake.
Most of the stuff in here is fake.
Just because she's charismatic don't mean she ain't generic. We never get to see her deal with the death of her father, a man she admired, fought beside and then resented for so many years. Instead, she just has a surface level disdain for Odin because he became a bitch.
One by one, the realms became ours. But then, simply because my ambition outgrew his, he banished me.
As opposed to being one-dimensional and boring, we could have had her draw motivation from a deep desire to feel close to her father again by clinging on to the holy mission they embarked on together, while actively resenting him for pushing her away and being angry at him for dying before she could make him see how much he hurt her, and maybe even eventually forgive him and be his loving daughter again. Isn't it crazy that we never even heard her talk about how much she suffered during her imprisonment and how much she hates her father for doing that to her? You could have literally given her the Loki storyline from Thor 1 but tackled it from a different, more poignant angle. And even bigger wasted opportunities, the camaraderie we could have had between Hela and Loki as the two rejected children of Odin. They could have connected over how they both represent aspects of his life and history that he is ashamed of and wants nothing to do with. They already have so many blatant similarities. Black hair, black and green aesthetics, the ability to conjure weapons from thin air, a paradoxical disdain for and attachment to their father, the fact that these two were never in a one-on-one extended dialogue scene together is an actual crime against cinema. This scene with the schizophrenic plot device they call Scourge would have been a great way to develop a bond between Hela and Loki. Have her reveal the real history of Asgard to her brother as they both revel in their shared paternal trauma and unite over their burning desire to conquer and rule other planets, which their father instilled within them at such a young age. Let's not forget that Loki literally wanted to destroy an entire planet populated by sentient life forms just to get Odin's approval in the first movie, something that Hela was doing long before he was born. How in the actual fuck do you completely fail to take advantage of those similarities as a filmmaker? This movie really should have been the greatest family drama story in the entire MCU. They could even unite in their envy for Thor, the literal golden child that Odin loved more than both of them combined. They touch on Hela's resentment for Thor, particularly in this scene, a little bit.
One day he decided to become a benevolent king, to foster peace, to protect life, to have you.
But they never do anything with it. Hela is even shown to have had Mjolnir before Thor was ever even born. How the fuck do you not use that to build a strong connection between Hela and Loki, as they both resent Thor for taking what they believe to be their birthrights? Bro, the power struggle between Hela and Loki when Loki finally betrays Hela and Hela realizes that she can't fucking trust him would have been so fucking awesome to see on the big screen, bro. Would have been so fucking awesome, but we don't get that shit because we gotta make space for all the fucking jokes in the fucking movie. And this whole brother-sister bonding scene doesn't need to clash with the Sakara plotline. We just have Loki astral project himself to Asgard to check in and have Hela sense his presence, or better yet, have her get up to date on recent Asgardian events, feel a strong sense of kinship to Loki because of his numerous and successful attempts to ascend to the throne, then have her astral project Loki to Asgard with some magic she learned from Heimdall or their mom or even Odin himself. There's almost an infinite amount of things we could have done to strengthen Hela as a character, but all those things were tossed to the side in favor of some fucking jokes. All this could have come together very smoothly to generate a strong familial theme for the movie, something the narrative is sorely lacking. They attempted to do something similar with Loki and Thor.
Hurts, doesn't it? Being lied to. Being told you one thing and learning it's all a fiction.
Goddess of death, Hela, a firstborn. Thor, Odin's son, my heir. My firstborn.
So that was a fucking lie.
They barely scratched the surface of bonding Loki and Thor over the fact that their dad lied to both of them about being his favorite and chosen child.
Only one of you can ascend to the throne, but both of you were born to be kings. Do you not truly feel the gravity of your crimes? Wherever you go, there is war, ruin, and death.
I went down to Midgard to rule the people of Earth as a benevolent god. Just like you.
In Loki's case, being lied to about his real parents and the reality of him ascending to the throne. In Thor's case, being lied to about his non-existent birthright as the firstborn son of Odin. But...
and learning it's all a fiction. I mean, you didn't think I'd really come and see you, did you? This place is disgusting.
Why bother making Thor a character when you can make him funny instead? The preferentially prioritized comedic tone of this film does so much damage to his plot and characters that we ended up not having a theme for our story. I don't think there's a moment that illustrates just how damaging the forced comedic tone of this movie is better than this scene.
The damage is not too bad. As long as the foundations are still strong, we can rebuild this place.
This is after Surtur has been unleashed on Asgard so he can destroy the planet and kill Hela in the process because her power comes from Asgard.
Asgard!
This is Thor's home, the planet where he grew up, the planet he dreamed about ruling over all his life, the planet he was sworn to protect with his dying breath. That same planet just got destroyed. Now, look how the movie immediately decides to react to this tragedy.
Now those foundations are gone, sorry.
Nice! I mean, why have a solemn moment of reflection for our characters when you can have jokes instead? Everyone likes to shit on Love and Thunder for its unnecessary and superfluous emphasis on painfully unfunny comedy to an opulent degree. But the same problems can be found in this movie. I'm not saying this movie is entirely bad or there aren't things to enjoy in here. There are great performances, the cinematography looks fucking amazing, the fight scenes are fucking fantastic, and it definitely did do a great deal to reinvigorate and revitalize the character of Thor in the eyes of the mass audiences. Eyes of the mass audiences. Oh god, and let me talk without a fucking script again. All those things notwithstanding, the movie is just objectively bad. There's no two ways around it. Not to sound fucking gay or anything, but Loki was written so well in those first two Thor movies that his fake death scene in both of them always makes me cry. Always. That's the power of objectively good character writing right there. You've gotten me to suspend my disbelief to such a high degree that I start to feel real, non-fictional human emotions for this completely fictional character. Meanwhile, Loki in this movie is nothing more than a fucking flanderized facsimile of his former self. The mere fact that the death of Frigga, a character that has maybe 5 scenes in the entire MCU, made me more emotional than the death of Odin, one of the main and prominently recurring characters within the Thor franchise, should be a great shame upon the legacy of this film. I better not fucking hear anybody talk about Ragnarok being the best Thor movie again after this.
The funny thing is, I actually like this movie.
So that was a fucking lie. So in conclusion, the plot is nothing more than a cascade of coincidental recurring contrivances. The tone actively works against the narrative in every single fucking way. Scourge is a contradictory plot device. Valkyrie is a convenience plot device. I can't even compliment the world building because that Doctor Strange scene is just character assassination in a bottle, and the plot literally had to break both the laws of physics and probability just to include Hulk in this movie. But that's not even the worst part. Loki is a bumbling contradictory idiot with wasted potential that forgets he's literally all-powerful. The Grandmaster is a senile dumbass who actively facilitates events that cause his own downfall. Hela is a subpar, painfully surface-level villain with so much wasted potential you could power up an entire continent with all that untapped potential energy. Thor is, at best, a static yet somewhat paradoxically regressive protagonist with wasted potential, and at worst, a bumbling meathead with a bad case of character assassination and somehow even more wasted potential. And because of all this, the theme of the movie is virtually non-existent. But hey, at least Thor is funny now. 4 out of 10. Subscribe to my Patreon for Wekos Echo. That's my Patreon exclusive weekly podcast where I review movies, answer your questions, and react to Reddit stories. Yeah! Well, this was fun. Subscribe to my Patreon, link in the description, and I will see you guys in the next analysis.